Hey everyone. It's been a long time since I made a update for my Real Christianity series, but I think being a Good Friday, about time I did another one. Just got back from a Good Friday service at church, and we did something different, and I want to kind of share that same experience with you guys. Usually, if you are a Christian, and go to a Friday service, you usually, the pastor says, place yourself as one of the soldiers or the mockers, and all these different situations, but rarely do they say place yourself in Jesus' place. And he's going through reading Matthew about what happened to Jesus, and I want to do the same thing. And this, for people who aren't Christians, I want you to do the exact same thing that we're about to do right here. Is put yourself in Jesus' place and imagine yourself as everything's happening. When we're reading from Matthew 27, verses 27 onward. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And then they twisted a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand and knelt in front of him and mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They spit on him, and they took the staff and they struck him on the head again and again. After they mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on, and then they led him away to crucify him. As they were going out, they met a man from Cyrene named Simon, and they forced him to carry the cross. They came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of the skull. There they offered Jesus wine to drink mixed with gall, but after the tasting it, he refused to drink it. When they crucified him, they divided his clothes and cast him in lots. Sitting down, they kept watch over him. Above the place where his head was written the charge against him, "This is Jesus, King of the Jews." 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking his head, saying, "If you who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God." In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him. Now, if he wants him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" In the same way, the robbers who were crucified with him also heaped insults on him. Now, the reason why I read through that and why my pastor read through that is because putting yourself in Jesus' situation, if you're not a Christian, Jesus came for the sole reason for this, to die to save the people that are insulting him, that are beating him. So as you're sitting there with a crown of thorns pressed on your head, and they're taking a staff and beating your head and beating the thorns on your head, and you're walking down with a cross that you had no right to bear, as they hurl insults and spit on you and throw rocks at you and everything, and then you're nailed to a tree and placed up and continue to be insulted as you bleed out and suffer. Now I bring this, and the reason why I put the title of this is this. There's so many people out there that say Jesus is a God of hate. And I question, where did they get that from? I look at all the different things that Jesus did through his ministry and all the different people he reached out to. And in the end, giving up his life for people that were literally insulting and beating him and hated him, yet he loved them and gave everything to try and save them. Where is this Jesus is a God of hate? Where is it? I challenge anyone that has a perception that Jesus is a God of hate and a God of rules and not a God of love to please send me a message, explain your point of view, and talk about this, because I want to get back a debate going, because I can't find anywhere or anything that really could say, how can you say that someone who does this for people that hated them, did this, sacrificed this much for their enemies, could possibly be motivated by anything but love? And for those of you that are Christian and know this comes to realization that how great our sin is, that this is what we deserved. We were supposed to be the ones that are being crucified on the cross for our sins. And that how great Jesus is, that he took that burden from us, that he attached himself to our sin and took it and took the punishment so that we can be free. And how much we take that freedom for granted nowadays. And how much sin that we so casually blow off in the society that we don't even think about anymore how much each of those sins equates to what he had to go through. And hopefully it becomes an eye-opener, because I know it was for me a little bit as well. We go through society and we turn a blind eye to all the different things that the Bible and God speaks out against. And, it's just, times. It's not really that big of a deal anymore. But it is. All those things are exactly why Jesus had to do what he did. And to not care about all those things, like adultery, lying, using God's name in vain, all those different things that are sin, and to not care about them. I can't imagine myself being on the cross and going through what Jesus did for someone, if I was Jesus, I didn't deserve it, and seeing people say, the reason why you have to do that, and I don't really care about it too much, or don't really think too much about it anymore, or don't like to think about it too much. Part of being a Christian is realizing how deep we need that salvation, how much we deserve to go through what Jesus went through, and how loving he was that he did what he did so that we didn't have to, that we could get eternity with God and not eternal separation. So, as much as it might be kind of a downer, but I just wanted people to remember that, first and foremost, Jesus, what he did on the cross was the most amazing act of love ever in history. And to say that he was motivated by anything else, I can't imagine that. And also to people to remember, get a wake-up call. We're Christians. We're called to be like him, to deny ourselves, to not follow our will, but to follow what he did. And he gave his will to God, his Father, to the very end. So, a little bit of a call to action, a little bit of realization. But I just want to share that with you guys. And I wish you all a very good Friday. And never forget the meaning behind it. And can't wait for Sunday to come. Take care, and God bless everyone.